Hello, I'm James, and the game for tonight is Mask of the Rose. Let's begin. I do not believe we have any memories remaining, at least not for now. Out of memories. Experimenting with stories. Archie treated David Landau, made an honest mistake and poisoned David. Someone with an unknown purpose swapped drugs for poison. Unless Milton does not have a prejudiced fear of burn. Let's change. A bit of flattery. Actually, no. Let's see. We aren't looking for motives for Archie. We're looking for an identity for the person who swapped the poison. See if Archie has any suggestions. Hello, George. I recount the newspaper's story. The new Anglican Synod is being disbanded, and there has been another attempt to contact the Archbishop of Canterbury, wherever he might be. Oh? Several of its members were suspected of being secretly devils or in the employ thereof. They infuse an edge of mockery into the whole. I do not understand how these so-called devils can claim a man's soul. I have met a man who claimed to have sold his, but he still walked. I believe it is a lie intended to frighten us. I laughed, but let the subject drop. Conversation turns to the behavior of the animals, never more peculiar and alarming. I believe I know what happened at Farm. When I start to explain, however, Brigitte stops me. You've put in a mystery accomplice, but you don't say who it was. I couldn't persuade the court to take on this prosecution. That didn't take up too much time. Okay. Um, hmm. Okay. Let's see if Archie has any ideas. Or no. Let's see if David has any ideas. Right. Just have to deal with something with my antivirus. Maybe Ivy has some ideas. Ivy greets me warmly. I've heard 4 other cities also fell into the need. By and large, I don't pick up other people's misery. But I hope you found a way of settling it down. London's the 5th. Something to go looking, isn't it? We had settled in fashion in London. All the treasures of the ancients, wear them as hats or sew them on for buttons. Got a notice from this morning that I'm to buy all my cloth from Mr. Bales from today onward. How would that be, I asked myself. Can't be, he has the best price, or he wouldn't need to force our hands. Can't be, it's best quality. The notice claimed it was by royal appointment, too. Chic. You know who killed David. No one's made me a confession of his murder, if that's what you're asking. Not sure what to do if they had. Been listening to secrets people want to be rid of. I heard of an old Neath ritual of Artemis, and I thought it'd be a quick money spinner. Quite a few dark things came in. I don't care to be giving away every confession I heard. Is there anyone else in the household you would suspect? You're determined it can't have been the doctor, then? There are one or two feeds in that house, but none that I'd see take this course. Did David have any enemies? All the world knows the answer to that. Rachel Landau put him in her novel, didn't she? Him and his jilt Charlotte and her new husband, Lord Carringham. She has no idea the value of a secret, that Rachel. It's no easy thing, Rachel's business. I've had a little to do with it myself. You can hardly help pulling in people you've met here and there. Meat pie's gone scarce down here, unless you mince a body up. No law says you have to dine on pies. Lord Carringham's been suffering from the whispers in his circle. All about how his pretty young wife, Jewish as she was, is pining in her heart for the man she used to love. And how she regrets wedding to a chinless Christian stick. All the while Charlotte's telling him how loyal and faithful and true she is to her lord and master. But she's dressing to catch the eye after the men pass. And what's more, she's setting me to carry letters secretly to David Landau, telling him she's still in love with him. Begging him for a moment to speak. Time came, and I told Lord Carringham the truth. Very long before David's death, that would have been. Sounds as though he had a good reason to kill David. Carringham is the man for taking his own back. Weak liver. When I showed him the copies of her letters, off he goes sick. Cast up his accounts right there with me in the room. But then he says he is sorry for his wife. Sorry for her. And what must he do but take her away, quick as may be, so she won't be tormented any more? Or tempted to break the vows she made at the altar or at the halt. That was a treasure he found. That is for Charlotte's honor. Once he hit upon it, he kept saying it. You're not at ease. Will you take my confession? It's right to make the use of, even if anything deceives it. Each hear the words, so let me speak my mind. I will hear you. Not here. She takes the mask from her saw and puts it over my face. This is right to do in the dark, and with a change or two in the words. I catch only a glimpse of it before she ties it in place, a bright and scowling sun. In a few minutes we are standing together in shadow, and she has told me all I need to know to play my part. I'm here to carry the weight you need to put down. Tell me a way you have failed yourself, and I will take it away. It will be yours for as long as you live, however long that may be. I'm not afraid to put the knife in them that earned it. I take what's mine, and I take what ought to be mine. What I done to Lord Chinless Carrington wasn't a judgment, and it wasn't callous neither. He'd suffered the good and the well from Rachel Landau's spite. Her pride was hurt when her brother was spurned, so she put her family name in the muck. Her daughter, whatever else you want to say, that's what it was, if you ask me. And what I done to him was spite just as much as her. I can call it what else I like, but in the dark, the truth is I took against Charlotte. I struck at her, and it was in my wit. Nothing to do with what's happened to David Landau since. But it's a thing I've done that's better left undone. Ivy, I will carry this self-recrimination for you. What you have done, you have recognized and set aside. You do not need to fear that you will betray yourself in the same way again. and take off the mask, ending the ritual. Was it helpful? You did well, I think. Not too solemn, no giggling either. You don't want to be putting people in mind of poetry, but you want them to know you take it serious. Good rites have a spectacle to them, but they still keep your feet on the ground. Otherwise, they're too far from life to do a speck of good after. There's time to run another errand today. Motive. Was hired by someone rich. Okay, let's see here. Archie wanted to save patients. And made an honest mistake. Carringhams they did not work themselves. They regretted the relationship, David. Okay, so here's our theory. Archie wanted to save as many patients as possible. Carringhams regretted a past relationship. Archie conducted experiments with various drugs. The Carringhams swapped rat poison for the medicine Archie used. Then Archie made an honest mistake through no fault of his own. He dosed David with the tainted medicine, ignorant of what it now contained. The Carringhams stayed clear of the situation, pretending not to know anything about it. Okay. That's a possibility. Let's see. Let's change back into our usual clothes. There you are, George. There's something I wish to discuss. I believe I know what happened and why. I lay out the whole story as I've reconstructed it, complete with means and motives. And you're sure about this? If I act on it, I won't be able to help if you decide you had it wrong. Okay, so looks like we'll skip straight to the trial if we go through with this. On second thought, I understand. Okay. That didn't take up too much time. That leaves time for another errand. Okay, so our strongest suspect is the carrot-hounds. But I have no idea how to confirm that. Mr. Pages may expect me to turn up with my ministry badge on. Do you have anything more? Mr. Pages is pleased enough with my information to give me 2 pennies. Its existence is a scheme. There will be more like it in time, with mud. My colleagues employ them. They do not always read or write, not suitable factors for our ministry. That is enough of my official duties for the moment. Is it possible to make people forget things here in the mood? Potentiously. Okay, I think that means either very powerfully or in many different ways. One may remove one memory, or several, or all. Scrub me out the mind like an old cup. Or, which is juxtaposited, one may erase the truth entire, converting what was into a cold contradiction. But these pens and inks are reserved to the lexive literate, not for you. I say farewell and go. Mr. Pages acknowledges my departure, with slightest inclination of its hood. It's getting late, so I'm heading back home. Evening. Down to supper. Okay, no conversation. Day 300. 5 days remaining. Reese leaves me the newspaper after she's read everything of political import. The headlines today read, Townhouse fire. Wild-haired and introspective students rescued. Outbreak blamed on unauthorized hexagonal map. Masters warn against unlicensed cartography. Well, that's interesting. Currently, Dungeons and Dragons is quite dangerous, at least using a sensible map it is. That will do for a story. Let's check ministerial exposés. Okay, let's track the man Moss is looking for. Can't find a way to investigate the Carringhams, but maybe we'll stumble across something while we're doing something else. Okay, said we need the Horned Crown. And this is not a social visit. Yeah, that'll do. Arjeet is familiar with me by now. I'm satisfied with that. Hello, George. I recount the newspaper story. There was a terrible fire resulting from the ownership of illegal maps. Oh? Seems that maps may spontaneously combust, or so the masters are warning, and infuse an edge of mockery into the whole. I find it difficult to think of the fall. Not out of distress, though I know many suffered greatly. But I find I remember it only in patches, or from a great distance, as though it happened to someone else. Have you seen a man who... I don't actually have any idea what he looks like. He would be in red and gold. He would appear strange alone, and say things that to you would appear strange. My goodness. A talking hat. A talking crown. Of course. My apologies. This man would have been encountered only in these small hours, usually given only to the dead. Much has changed, but my master knows these are constants. I saw a man in a coat out of fashion. He asked me a variety of strange questions. About Archie, too. It was near Shaftesbury Avenue. The walk is easier this time than some of our previous lessons. At first, I think I am becoming better at route finding. Then Harjeet mentions that the streets are becoming easier. The street signs change less frequently now. The streets tangle. The lights are few here. A man approaches. A good evening to you. I find myself caught on dusk's wing, like a firefly whirled upon a zephyr. A pleasure to encounter another of Twilight's walkers. You may call me May. Pray, visit no witticism upon me. The name has its origins in a place far older and sadder than this. Even in the dark, your coat shines. Red and gold and marvelous. The only sartorial guidance required. Where could I get such an exquisite piece? You cannot. It is mine. But at an establishment called the Adelphi, all manner of things are just lying about, riches, discarded. Truth be told, I venture out in search of dreams, one in particular. A crown upon an uncrowned head, a headpiece which has a life all its own, yet is yet free. It was meant for me, yet resides with thee. It was my dream once to possess, yet you have it first. The king no doubt suggested to give me the dream unknown to me would learn me out. And it has, as he knew it would, though the giving of a dream has dual purpose, both to catch me and to humble. Only by possession of another's dream could I ever think of wearing the crown. And thus, such ambition is but night's ephemera. The horned crown says something unspeakable in Rome scratch. I think it means it would like May to come to the point. Well, I think it is more than passing rude to listen to dreams without the consent of the dreamer. Stored as they are in your horned head, I think I prefer to hear from source direct. I would not be unhappy to find you when I close my eyes. A flicker of firefly interest stirs. In other circumstances I might be the proverbial candle flame. But it is the crown I want, not its temporary perch. It seems I must ask for the crown in your stead. I tell it of the sea that waits in my mind, of the pull of the ocean and the cry of the gulls. I tell it of the dark mirror I see, waveless and tideless, an abyss that lingers on the edge of London. The crown you wear was intended for me. I have been racked in my time as in the last city. I lingered in dreams, hoping to restore something I'd lost. And in my absence I have missed an overture to find what I was missing. I know my heart's desire would not have sent me with this. Ergo, someone else would send a man of folly, I'd wager, one of the king's own servants. But he faced an obstacle. Quay men, as you must know, do not dream. My king does not like to make a task easy. Now I must begin the ritual to signal my acceptance of his gift. There are much easier ways, but my love is in traditions. And these were written on the bows of the twin cedars long ago. The rules of culture, as sacred as the observance as the act. Now give me the courtesy of a minute. This must be performed in private. I take a step back and wait for him to turn his attention away from me. I watch as May takes the horned crown to his lips, and faces the part where the eyes would be, and kisses it. With his left hand, he takes a pouch from his coat and sprinkles what look like ashes over both his own head and the crown. With his right, he closes his hand in a circle and presses it against his breast as though binding himself. I catch a sudden scented cedar wood, as unexpected as a ray of sunlight. I am not worthy of his crown. Beast among men full of pain, it was my gift to you. You send this to mock me, but I will wear it with pride. For I say it the best and most beauteous of men. And if this is my punishment, let it be so. But accept my prayer that in the long centuries my suffering might be enough, so that as I place this crown upon my head, we might cross the vast sea, at last regard each other. Tell the crown bearer, his prince comes. I shall keep this gift. The horned crown says something guttural lone scratch that I did not make out. For a time, I will see you again soon. As he goes, I see him place the crown upon his head. Judging by the clock, I can afford another errand today. Person, May. Let's see what we can do with May. We can't put May in anything except for the mystery solution. Wonder if we could have used him in the last novel chapter. And it looks like he can't have been the motivator or the culprit. We don't have any new locations. So let's speak with Theophilus. I can hardly pursue this course without Algernon. Must be suitable wherever we go, I feel. The brooch makes it look as though we're in some sort of official business, but who can say for what office? I find Theophilus at his prayers. You seem to be accompanied. No need to rack your cranium on my account, Reverend. I am new to the parish, so I hope this will not be my last visit. Indeed, I intend it to be the first of many. That is good to hear. This is not the strangest thing to happen to me this week. I wish I could say I did not know what you mean. I am hardly strange. I read in 4 languages and know my Tacitus from my Aurelius. I am the model of a modern citizen. And in that vein, wish only to become a member of this parish. I have mused on this matter since it came to my attention. What can God mean by making the animals speak? Though I understand it is only a few: cats, rats, bats, ravens. I wondered at our proximity to hell, if this was an infernal device. We hear of familiars and such in the trials of Lancashire and King James. Antiquated superstition! Did cats die in vain? And then I wonder if it is a sign from the Almighty, whereby speech is bestowed upon the most innocent, a last attempt to save us. The animals knew before Noah when the flood was to come. I'm afraid I remain, like St. Thomas, full of doubt. And what do you think, Algernon? You wouldn't be converting us, Reverend. Apparently a holy person has already gone ahead and done the hard labor. You'd merely be confirming that which is already fact. I am given to understand by the dog rats that this saint has already brought the rats down here for religion. Who? Is there a saint for bats and one for cats, too? I believe Saint Gertrude was adopted those. As a boy, I found myself wondering about the cleaning expense at her house. I asked if nothing was sacred, but I fear it a rhetorical question. I suppose, by that logic, I might as well be a saint of rats. It is as likely as any of the other strange wonders we find ourselves amongst down here. The rat catcher, here that is, does the rats of the dots speak of a prophet? Who teaches the new London rats to speak? Well, the rats of this place have been converted already. A ceremony might be arranged to formally bring them into the fold. A baptism of the rats. If, of course, I can see any evidence this saint exists, and he has performed such a conversion. A hagiography should do with sort of miracles. A story about the saint, you mean? I understand there is a new archival institution near the bazaar. It gathers the riches of our libraries and sifts through their materials to ensure compliance. The masters, I understand, employ Londoners to go about this work. If there is any truth in this story of rats, I imagine it would be there. Find a patron saint for rats. I want to believe, but like St. Thomas, I require proof. Until then, I really must see to this print. New goal, baptize Algernon the rat. For a moment, no one speaks. I've not been called on to celebrate any weddings since we came down here. You might have thought, but apparently our current circumstances are making the parishioners abandon all formalities. Christenings, though, I've had my share of christenings. There are plenty of mothers who don't want their babies to die down here unshriven. Goodbye. It was good of you to stop in. Lord see you safely home again. It's time to go home. Okay, let's see what we can do. Tell the story of the rat's patron. Rat power. The Rat Prophet King dwelled in power in the shadows of beneath, and drew into its congregation every promising new rat. A Rat Prophet King saw the rat alone, separate from the kinship of rats, and spoke to him out of the darkness. A rat questioned the purpose of the lesson. A rat invented new doctrines suited to the myriad creatures of beneath. Meanwhile, the Rat Prophet King's deeds had offended the King of the Deep Sea. He was transformed into an island and sank beneath the waves. Oddly specific. Horatio looks in on me after dinner, though I'm not the one she's looking for. There's a man in the night, invited himself, bold as brass. Says he's here for Mr. Moss. What is he like? Daft as he grew. Looks like he's escaped the theater. Or traveling there. Good manners, though, it must be said. I'll just go and fetch down Mr. Moss for him. I shan't be a tip. And yet in her dreams, sometimes she is a bee, nesting at the center of a great hive. Attended by drones and food and honey, she never leaves but her drones higher they fly. Forgive me my manners. I delight to be reacquainted. This is an elaborate way to catch my attention. Oh, your attention is the last thing in the world I desire. I wanted to see the one who came across the sea to bring me a crown. Speaking of, here, take it back. I find its habit of issuing proclamations most tiresome. Or habit, and we would not have been so repetitious with our requests if you had listened to them. Oh, sods. It is you. Your face it is. Would never have shouted. Moss makes a rumbling noise deep in his throat. You have me at a disadvantage, for though the king has spoken much of you, I do not know you. But some part of you must recall. The seed is the heart and the knife. What you said as I held your hand. What I said as I held the blade. Can you really have forgotten all I have meant to you? Moss makes a sound like loose pebbles falling into a fountain. I think you have me mistaken. I am the messenger, not the king. I imagine our friend has something to say. Indeed, Much as I wish to know more of you, I do not wish to do so by deception. I am an imitation. I am not the king. You have his face, but you are not he. You are born to the clay, though there is diamond in you too. A passing fancy that my love and I were reunited. Our grand love won from death, finding a new act after long separation. Such a story as ours cannot find continuation in such a humble place as this. It is only my heart's greatest fancy that causeth me to mistake you for him. I am the intended recipient of the crown you bore. A gift chosen for its cruelty, a representation of all I lost, so that we could gain what he casually discards. The cruelty I have ended. Indeed, I savour its every cut. I thought our tradition was ended long ago, yet by chance it continues with you. The king forbade us to speak of you. He told me only what was needed. It makes a long grinding noise like the erosion of chalk cliffs. Continues for some time. Enough to find you, but I know so little else about you. Even how to address you. I know what my king would command, but he is not here. He looks to me as though searching for the answer to a riddle. You both served the king, didn't you? We did. I still do. I suppose you must still, or else you would not be here. Service comes in many forms. It is perhaps purest when it goes unregarded, or else is performed despite the protestations of the one service. I am glad we have found an accord. When from out of the king's rule, kindness is so much easier to find. He would be furious, of course, but we find solace beyond the comfort of his own love. To hate and to keep his affection is of the smothering kind. But make no mistake, we are out of his shadow. Or why else would he cast you off, like shale from a mountain's shoulder, abandon you to the ruin of the last city and the fall of this one? Moss makes a noise like the fracturing of a diamond deep in a mountain heart. How was he to know that the task would be so difficult? Nor could any have expected a city to fall while I was in the last one. Moss makes a reluctant sound like Sisyphus taking a moment's pause. Had he known, I am certain he would have summoned me home. The truth is such a bitter draught, I found. I am like you, Moss. I have served faithfully and been found wanting. In all these centuries, he has acknowledged me but rarely, and then only to insult. He has made you in his image. You have served as ably as you could, I have no doubt. But you have failed. He has discarded you just as he did me. He has left you alone in this strange place. He has known the fall of cities before. He knows their signs, and still he did not call you back. Why would he send you to find someone he hated if he wanted you to succeed? Perhaps a change of heart. When has he ever had that? Come, Moss, upon my stone. You know I speak the truth. Even your friend sees it. Would you both excuse me? It's a sound that resembles sudden rain upon a mountainside. I am glad that you have received our king's gift, and I am glad that my task is now at an end. Goodbye, May. Oh dear, I seem to have caused a discord between us. It was never my intention, only to clarify his mind to the truth, and to make clear the connection that links us is as strong as silver. I'm sorry Moss was so rude. And you, his friend. It was hardly rude, but with me I would have set fire to the room and everyone in it. Instructed the ashes to pop in my pipe later. It is not a surprise he is distressed. The king's conduct to those who have hurt him is generally distressing. The clock chimes, and like the cinders go, I am without my shoes. Should Moss have questions, and I am in the mood for badinage, of course, he should know where and how to find me. As for you, whom he so clearly relies upon, I might myself wonder how he came to be abandoned, were I you. Happily, I am not. But I assure you there is a breach between him and his king. I know the marks to look for when the king severs one of his own. A good night to you, and pleasant dreams. Okay. Let's see here. We have some new goals for rat baptism. A patron saint for rats. And a new census to do. Now we have May in our list. A relationship simmers pleasantly. Perhaps it could become something more. "301 days. 4 days remaining. And first to the morning paper. The headlines today read, Sylvester Loveless preaches against the ignoble practice of soul donation. Sermon transcribed on page 3. Interesting. Okay, where to? What Grease's opinion? See if we can figure out what pages were left. Consider what impression this will make on Grease. Grease is palpably not happy to see me. You remember that pink gown you had when you first came here? And how you told Horatio you'd like to order the meals? Unkind of you to remember that. You have chosen to forget it entirely. How are you holding up with Archie gone? I know you two are, you depended on each other. It's hard to live without him. I never knew how much I depended on him until he was gone. He was a tower of strength to you, was he? Perhaps that's a bit much to claim. I'm sorry I haven't been able to do more for Archie so far. I'm trying my best, you know. I've asked Mr. Pages what I can do. I suspect Mr. Pages has been writing sigils on the walls of houses. In fact, I think those marks made London the shape it is. Moved the buildings around into the streets in a new order. They determined where the buildings landed after the fall. Perhaps. But if that is true, things have put Parliament in the river. They drowned it in profit. Suppose I should not be surprised. We're both silent for a moment as our thoughts settled. I tried walking down to Parliament Hall, that is, to the remains, but I couldn't get to it. What are you looking for there? I want to see what became of it. When I asked Mr. Pages, he gave me very confused accounts. It's not just that my uncle was there on the day of the fall. It seems to me that someone would have done away with it. The rest of London didn't end up in the river. So I can't help but thinking it was put there on purpose. I did try asking Culprit. He said he wouldn't take me because it was difficult. It would take a long time. Don't suppose you could find a way? Of course I will. Thank you, you're good at it. At least that's my former fiance used to say. Griselda, you're good at it. Silence falls. I wish Grease a good morning. Comrade, we're friends, aren't we? I haven't had anyone to confide in for a long time. You're the best and safest person I know. Please try not to be drowned in the stolen river, or eaten by the thing talons that visits you. I'll be careful. I always plan for contingencies whenever there's anything I don't want to lose. You're another item on the list. Okay, she doesn't know one way or the other. Actually, maybe Phoebe has some ideas. Okay, switch back to the Carringtons. Okay, so you can't approach Phoebe with a Carrington theory. Switch back to Archie. Archie intentionally. Whoops. Okay. Archie incompetent. Okay, that's our main theory. Archie wanted to save as many patients as possible. The Carringtons regretted a past relationship. Archie conducted experiments with various drugs. The Carringtons swapped rat poison, the medicine Archie used. Then Archie made an honest mistake through no fault of his own. Dosed David with the tainted medicine, ignorant of what it now contained. The Carringtons wanted to avoid blame. The Carringtons feigned ignorance about the whole affair. See whether Milton can help with the memories. Let's change. A austere and sober look that does not detract from the glory of your headgear. Bare face will give your thoughts away. The fort has an alluring menace about it. Most likely no one will expect me to exchange news of the day. Your return, I see. To what do I owe the aggravation? Is it possible to make people forget things here in the moon? It is possible. Those who have lived longer in the Neath have cultivated many shades of oblivion. But I cannot recommend it. How do you hope to grow a soul if the exquisite torments are flushed away? There's a brief lull in the conversation. I've heard a rumor that you ask people for their souls. Me? All of you. That you go around asking for souls. I'm more interested in unpublished manuscripts, poetry, that sort of thing. So you are a publisher. Dear me, no. I'm keen to hear about your business all the same. And I thought you were getting to trust me. Milton hesitates. I'm trusting you. Don't betray it. I do collect souls, but not, let us say, bulk. There are wholesale dealers, souls by the gross, etc. I am more of a specialist merchant. For my taste, the literary soul is especially intriguing. When you talk about a person's soul, do you mean the same thing a preacher would? Better to ask whether a preacher means the same thing we do. Some people don't even miss their soul once it's gone. Tell me something. What is your most compelling desire? To know the truth, to be undeceived. Most people would rank that among the foremost tortures of hell. Do you think you could weather it? That's part of what I'd like to know. You might find you dodge knowing in spite of yourself. Humans are very good at dressing any unpleasant fact in silk and feathers until it no longer offends the eye. It's almost time to eat. Archie's trial is scheduled in a few days' time. If there's anything you had to tell me about it, you have 3 full days left to do so. Further evidence against our friend, or further alibis. You're intruding on our supper. I've worked out the truth. I'll bring it to you. You know where to find me. This would not be necessary if they'd given us warning. Archie could have gone into hiding. There are ways under the city, within it. What do you think, Moss? We do not have many fugitives in Polythreme. It is difficult to escape the law when every brick can proclaim which way you went. I chew diligently. There are no more mushrooms on my plate. Three days remain. I get to the morning newspaper after Greece is done with it. The headlines today read, Vatican encyclical Lapsus Londinensis affirms support to all children of God, rebukes Anglican Church for abandoning flock, confirms that devils are enemy of the Church. Apparently Nephi theology is heard on the surface, too. Okay, here's our main theory. We still need to figure out a way to get to the Carrions to investigate them. Okay, seems unlikely that we're going to get access to the Carrions, especially with a note that we've hit to the end of the investigation period, or that's coming up soon. And I am kind of doubting it, given what Ivy said. The next strongest contender would be someone on the surface, but I don't know how they'd get access to the drugs. We know that if it was a candle, it would have been Phoebe. Okay, let's try this. Phoebe, most of all, wished for unknown benefits. Nameless individual for some unspecified benefit. Phoebe begged David for passage to the surface. Someone explained that murder beneath need not be a permanent affair. Phoebe felt humiliated. She poisoned David by burning arsenic-laced candles in his room. In fact, the candles had been burning there for some time, but the numbers too small to cause lasting harm. But when Phoebe turned her mind to it, she brought in candelabras full of them. Someone wanted to avoid blame and feigned ignorance about the whole affair. Okay, so if it was a tainted drug, it would have been Archie. If it was candles, it would have been Phoebe in the slot. Okay, someone with an unknown purpose gave Archie rat poison. But I can't figure out how to ask that. There doesn't seem to be an option for it. He was assuming that I'm asking about Archie rather than asking about whoever might have swapped the poison. Okay, let's hold the Archie Marathon theory in our back pocket for now. And try a Phoebe theory. that I can't figure out how to ask about to whoever might have swapped the poison. It doesn't let me select that as culprit. When I think of it, we probably did drop the candle thing too soon. Go with this. No, if it's tough. Good to see you. I pause and look in Phoebe's direction. Look out the newspaper story. The Vatican has sent down a papal encyclical clarifying the theological position of Catholics in the news. Make the story as engaging as I can, plenty of detail and a fair sprinkling of dramatic politics. They're not all bad, you know. Devil. Besides, some of them aren't interested in teaching vulgar souls. Some prefer higher conversation. I outline a more robust and vigilant future for the church. In sense with the protection of the church, then. But against hell, there's always something to be told to people. I reckon this case is different. Rachel hears me out, but explaining this question doesn't matter as much to her as to me. Don't mind me. No one speaks for me. The conversation turns to the behavior of the animals. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the murder? There are some things I don't understand. Yes. Is David answering your questions? He is. If he can stand it, as well as I. You were here the night David returned. So you recall what happened on the day. I remember what he said. What a tangle this is. If Phoebe have anything against David, was she angry at him? Phoebe didn't do this. Thought on what might motivate a murderer. Whatever else they are, there must be something. Anger, grief, something of that. But Phoebe, she's the most cheerful person I know, even down here. She doesn't have her in her. Now Dr. Reed, now there is a man disrupted by sorrow. Nelson visited last night to apologize. He said he could see that he'd been unlovely. He had reasons why he behaved as he did. I won't go into it. I've forgiven him, but he is difficult. An absurd thing for me to ask you, I know, but would you treat this as a confidence and give me your candid advice? I'm listening. I hint at feelings from Milton. He says, oh, I know, in an affable way. Well, what an inconvenience. As though it caught a sneeze and he was sympathetic, but didn't see what it had to do with it. Then turns the subject to something annoying. How does he change the subject? Perhaps there's a meaning in it. Like what I think of Simeon's paintings, or what I see traces of Russian influence in London's novels. If there is a subtext in that, it is not an encouraging one. Simeon's paintings all portray handsome young men out of the Old Testament in compromising situations. However, I do not think Milton means to say that he has no taste for ladies. I've thought of being his mistress. Among artists, these arrangements are tolerated more than else. While David was gone, I thought about it a great deal. Why not? I thought. There's no life coming here as a respectable lady, the woman of a Jewish household. With David alive, no. I'd rather stay here with him, fighting to be both myself. As Milton's hostess, I'd be only half myself. The more brilliant half, maybe, but also the weaker one. For what I can tell, Milton has given you his answer. He continues to visit me. As a friend, not as a suitor. A gentleman wanted to encourage a lady to offer an offer that wasn't forthcoming. On reflection, I doubt he'd apply those rules to himself. Perhaps he'd even say it was a compliment to me, that he didn't expect me to be taken in by them. Curse it. I know how you feel. I won't say it'll get better, because we're all living in a giant hole in the ground. But life will continue, probably. Thank you. Kindness is like naked honey down here. Do you have any art in you? Do you write or sing or paint? I tell her about my efforts and my aspirations. Even when I stray far from her own expertise, she listens intently. I am most interested in what I'm going to do with it. Before the fall, we knew what art was for. A sale, a wealthy patron, the infiltration of one's preferred salon. Fascinating. I'm glad you told me this. I should be elsewhere. My publisher will be sending out a messenger at any moment. Look after yourself, my friend. Okay. Rachel ruling out Phoebe. We're back to Archie-based theories. Okay, and okay, here's our theory. Archie most of all wished for help from the Carringtons for a clean slate after past relationships. Archie conducted experiments with various drugs. The Carringtons swapped rat poison for the medicine Archie used. Then Archie made an honest mistake for no fault of his own. He dosed David with the tainted medicine, ignorant of what it now contained. The Carringtons wanted to avoid blame. The Carringtons feigned ignorance about the whole affair. Okay. What's our current leading theory? Let's work with Barquogen and Batachikon. Consider what impression this will make on Batachikon. Let's change. Bring the Amber Brooch. What would be a good hat? Yes, that'll do. The brooch makes it look as though I'm doing some sort of official business, though who can say for what office? Batachikon burbles a greeting. I met Barquogen. She's working in London at a shop. Batachikon makes a hoot of interest, followed by the hawks of indifference. Batachikon makes a wheezing hoot, which is followed by a single lonely warble. I think he might mean that he does not imagine she will agree. But if she is sincere and contrite, he is not a rubbery prone to grudges. No one speaks for a moment. Are you an unattached rubbery man? Batachikon makes an alarmed series of hoots. Ah, I thought you might ask him that. I return only to serve his interest here. As a final favor, in view of our own arrangement. Proceed with your questions. I shall laugh at the appropriate junctures. There are complexities to the question. Reveries commingle. They have individual preferences and personalities, of course. But there is a collectiveness to their social ordering that makes separation difficult, though Batachikon is more separate than most. Batachikon makes a series of complex hawks that suggest either embarrassment or intrigue. He would like to know why you are asking. No reason in particular. Batachikon makes a seductive warble. Barquogen giggles. He says you are welcome to revisit the topic if you ever so choose. Something slimy attaches itself to my shoulder. Batachikon makes a curious swallowing noise, emerging from somewhere below the neck. I think he is trying to decide something about me, or perhaps indicating I should come again. It is a long way back up to London. I grin. Horatio will be setting out the food now. Go down to supper. 2 days remain. As usual, I resort to the morning papers. The headlines today read, "Inventor proposes building a balloon to visit whatever is above." Yes, that could certainly end well. Brigitte has a soft spot for the masculine tailor. You're looking well. Would you like company on your rounds? If you wish to come along on my rounds, we can check both sides of the street at once. It should be faster to clear the area. So we check on all the empty houses in the neighborhood and make sure that nothing untoward has moved into them. We do find one house that has obviously been vacated very recently. Brigitte gathers the usable things, a couple of coats, a half-drunk bottle of spirits. He does not say where he thinks the owners have gone. Finally, we work our way back around to our own familiar courtyard. Horatia's house is very well anchored. Whatever else moves, Chapman's stays put. I found my way to somewhere you might like. It's an easier route than it ought to be. I think perhaps there's an error in the alignment of the streets. The clock pleases me. A finger pointing at nothing. Sometimes you can hear the river creatures singing here. But mostly I like to enjoy the ruin. We stand and talk for a time. Now and then someone walks by, but mostly we are quiet. The false stars crawl along the ceiling of beneath. New location discovered at the south bank. A scenic path along the stolen river, favored by lovers and pickpockets. I believe I know what happened and why. I lay out the whole story as I've reconstructed it, complete with means and motives. And you're sure about this? If I act on it, I won't be able to help if you decide you had it wrong. Okay. I think we've done everything we need to before the trial. Not much time left, so let's begin. I'm sure. Get a good night of sleep. Do whatever else you mean to do. Tomorrow, the case will be heard. I just have time for another errand today. Okay, what have we got? See if Ivy can help. Dare to question Mr. Pages about Archie's manifesto. The apron and the crown say I am a tailor of a very esoteric kind. You do not appear to have brought any amputated forms with you. Perhaps the nature of the job was not made clear. Sorry, I swear to do better. When they require an apology, I will extract one with all. Did you write signs on the walls of the houses? Did you invoke powers to make the buildings of London rearrange themselves? No. I did not think it necessary to proceed to the streets this far. I was overridden, outvoted in the council. Fires and mirrors and iron were hated in me. What the other masters did. An ample minority. The city was being bought but overpopulated. Over many souls in the north would increase our obligations. What's that mean? We have many debts, old and new, but some from long before London. The settling of a new city is Plutocratus. Plutocratus. A wealthy time. Related to death or the underworld. The old laws leech away, the new ones settle in. The creatures find their voices, the words finally face to join and juxtapose. We have mended your great clock to strike at moments of transition, but your people do not attend to it. There's a moment for my questions. You should attend the ministry frequently. Your presence is satisfactory. If you have secrets to confide, I will also listen to them, especially if they pertain to heart matters, but even if they do not. I would like that. I have written this appointment in the book. Do not deviate from obedience to this plan. Priests have indicated the reciprocity of ruinous places. That what is broken inspires happiness and warmth of heart. There is something I wish to show you. Leads me out of the ministry. The people in the streets part when we approach. No one troubles us. When we come to the edge of the stolen river, it summons a boat with a crook of its claw. Action. Bought London. Does it have effect? Does it hearten you? Police indicated that the moon was also required. But the moon was cast out of the belly of the meat. Well, that's interesting in light of certain things. It is unwise to stay. We will depart. You have seen what I wished to show. New location discovered. The sunken Parliament. All that remains of the houses. The building has been in the middle of the river since the fall. I shake my head to clear it. The ruminations are gone. All is as it was. By now, Horatio will be wondering where I am. Okay, and with the trial set for next time, let's call it for tonight. I have been James, and the game has been Mask of the Rose. Thank you for watching. Thank you also for liking and subscribing. Good night.